Bob Redford, from the bottom of my heart, you have done so much for all of us here, and it is with great honor and humility that I present you the 2014 IDA Career Achievement Award. To you, Robert Redford.
Thank you. Well, moments like this make me shy. I thank you, Barbara, and I thank the IDA. I thank all of you for this honor, because it is an honor. So I thought, well, what's the best way that I can share this evening with you? And I think probably by just telling you about my personal history and the how and the why that I came to have such high regard for documentary film. So it really started when I was a kid here, growing up in Los Angeles, and I was sick one day. And so I stayed home from school. I was about 11 years old. And I was watching television. Nobody else was there, and I was watching television. And that was in the days when the screens were about 9 inches. That was the biggest screen you could get. It was black and white. And I was flipping around. I came across the Army-McCarthy hearings. And I don't remember much about it, except there was a guy that had seemed to have like a kind of a bloated face, sweaty, and seemed belligerent. And he was talking to a lot of guys in suits who were firing questions at him, and it was all very confusing, so I turned it off. Years later, I came across Emile de Antonio's film, Point of Order. And when I saw that film, something really, really shifted for me, because suddenly that first time that I was looking at the set, and I didn't it was dense, suddenly I understood. It made sense. The Point of Order made sense of what I'd seen earlier. So from Emile de Antonio, I then moved on. I stepped into the world of Pennebaker, Leacock, the Drew Associates, and Albert Maysles. Then I was put further into the value of documentary films and how it would impact my impression. And it was about how, not only how real and how dramatic it was, but also you were there. You were in the moment, and that really made a big impression on me. So much so that I, years later, when I was able to make my own films, when I was able to produce my own films, even though they were low budget and more independent in nature, I employed that style and technique to earlier films that I made, The Candidate, Downhill Racer, so forth. And then as years went on, over the next several years, I was pretty connected to documentaries and their value, and so I stayed involved over several years, and I would make small documentaries, most of which weren't seen. There were very small documentaries about issues having to do with the environment or Native American rights. But it kept me involved, and I would either produce or do a voiceover, what have you. Then, when the Sundance Festival looked like it was going to survive, because in the beginning I didn't think it would, it did not have a lot of support, so nobody votes for a new idea, you have to grind it out yourself, so it took a while. But when it finally sustained, I realized then that we could create a platform for documentaries in the festival. And maybe in that way we could enhance the role of documentaries and the appreciation of documentaries and just keep moving as best we could whenever we could. So that led to the House of Docs there at Sundance. And then, of course, at the Sundance The Place, which is not Park City. Sundance The Place is in the mountains further away. But we have labs there, and we were able to start a documentary lab. So obviously, the whole issue of documentaries was very important to me, and I was, I think, pledging all along to do whatever I could to enhance the role of documentaries. And maybe we could see the day when there would be equal footing with feature films. Well, I think documentaries speak for themselves, as to whether you agree with that or not. I'm just proud of my involvement with documentaries. And now when we, the atmosphere that we're in right now, there's so much anger and fear and misperception, misinformation, so many voices coming at you so fast, right and left, mile a minute, some authentic, some not authentic, and you don't know where the truth is. You don't know where the truth is. But when we don't know where to turn for the truth because there's so many voices out there, then what do we do? Where do we turn? Where are you going to find the truth? And that's where I think documentaries come in. And I think that trust, there's something about a documentary, it has an hour plus time to go into an issue and involve you in going into the issue. And so I think that if you want to look for an example of that, I don't think you can see any better example searching for the truth or where to tell your story than Snowden reaching out to Laura Poitras to tell his story. It kind of speaks for itself. So that pretty well says it. I thank you all. I thank you for this honor. I am deeply gratified. Thank you.